they left with no friends because they are a state of that's founded on blood and on twisted historical religious. We have more than 2,000 innocent civilian souls have perished. Israel is an occupation state, occupation power that only aims to expand. Hassan Nasrallah to us is a great leader. The ICJ that he is a war criminal. He committed war with Yemen because they are the terrorist state of Israel has spared no one.
The war in West Asia is escalating. Lebanon has become the center right now of the onslaught from Israel. What's really happening on the ground? I'm being joined in an exclusive conversation with Lebanon's ambassador to India, Dr. Rabi Naush. Dr. Naush, thank you so much for speaking with India Today Global. You're here after just visiting Beirut. What's the situation on the ground? How difficult have things become for people in Lebanon?
Thank you, Gita. Thank you for having me. Well, the situation is an all-out war waged by Israel against Lebanon. The situation is bad. We have so far more than 1 million displaced from the mainly southern part of Lebanon and West Bekaa Valley, and from Beirut also. Plus, of course, you know that we have the about 2 million Syrian refugees that Lebanon hosts. So the situation on the ground is very bad. This is on the humanitarian side. On the military side, there is the daily attack by Israel, the unprecedented firepower that dropped on civilians. So far also we have more than 2,000 innocent civilian souls have perished and more than about 5,000 wounded.
The Hezbollah has come under severe attack. Hassan Nasrallah is no more, but there was some conversation about a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah, which of course the Lebanese government was mediating. Could you share details on that?
Sure. You remember we met and we had some interview about a year ago almost. And since then I told you that Lebanon is never interested in war. And Lebanon has always been calling for a ceasefire, for peaceful solution for all the crises in the Middle East. The one party who is against every political settlement is the terrorist state of Israel. Israel has always refused the political solution and has always resorted to military measurements. What happened recently, if we want to talk directly on the current situation, is that, yes, Lebanon has been working with international powers for a ceasefire on the Lebanese front and to kind of separate it from Gaza front. And there has been with the good offices of France and the USA even and some other European powers, there has been a kind of draft agreement for a ceasefire, ceasing of hostilities. But there was a kind of plot because even our minister mentioned it that late Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah himself agreed to a ceasefire. But then the assassination happened and the kind of breach of trust.
Yeah.
Then the whole situation went to square zero.
So you are saying, did Hassan Nasrallah agree to the ceasefire agreement?
He did. Yes, he did. And there were some international envoys who were sponsoring this ceasefire. And it was, of course, conveyed to the international community through our foreign minister, who informed the international envoys that, yes, we are ready. Lebanon as a whole is ready for a ceasefire.
So you're saying that Israel had the option and the route to a negotiation and ceasefire with the Hezbollah that could lead to peace rather than the attack that was carried out in
True, and
when was the ceasefire agreed upon? Was it just days before the attack on the Hezbollah?
It was obvious later that it was just a whole plot to assassinate Hassan Nasrallah. It was a plot that Israel would announce their first or the preliminary accept of ceasefire, and Netanyahu was in the at New York at the UN General Assembly delivering speeches, his speech, and then the assassination happened. All of a kind of military plot to assassinate Hezbollah leader.
There's also information about the UN resolution and that the Lebanese government was ready to fully implement the UN resolution as well.
This famous UN resolution 1701.
Yes.
Yes, we have always been calling for the full implementation of 1701. Since the issuance of this resolution, Lebanon has been abiding by it, but the continuous violation of 1701 was from one side only, from the superpower of the region, from the terrorist state of Israel. They have always been violating airspace of Lebanon, the land incursion, the sea violation, so the violation of the sovereignty of Lebanon from all sides.
Dr. Naush, the fact that we are looking at a very serious scenario and situation right now where Lebanon is under siege in many ways than one, and it's not just the bombing, the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie explosions, we will talk about that too, but we're also looking at ground invasion from Israel. We've seen that in the past as well. What is your assessment and reading of this ground invasion? Are they here to stay? Will they come and go? And how is Lebanon looking at responding to this?
They cannot stay. They cannot keep the control of the land. They have tried the occupation of parts of Lebanon. They did occupy it for certain years, but at the end of the day, the people of the land would conquer the occupation. Occupation never wins. History has told us so. The resistance is a legitimate right for every people under occupation. This land is ours, and we are ready to defend it, even if we know that our enemy, Israel, has the supremacy, maybe the air supremacy, the weapons supremacy. They have the unprecedented firepower, maybe the best and the top technology of the world. But still, we know that we will win and we will defend our land. And when it comes to the ground, they tried only yesterday, if you, of course, you are following, they sustained grave losses of more than 15 soldiers when they tried to encourage in the ground. I'm not saying that it is uneasy, and they will not. They can, and they will try, and they might. But at the end of the day, they will be defeated. As we did in 2000 and 2006 and even before. We have this experience with Israel since its creation. For us, we know. Now the world maybe is seeing the true face of the terrorist state of Israel. But we know the fact since its creation that Israel is never interested in peace. Israel is an occupation state, occupation power, that only aims to expand its land. Unfortunately, they justify this through a twisted and dangerous religious doctrine. This is the dangerous thing, that they justify this religiously. And, the promised land and whatever in their holy books.
And anybody who speaks against occupation is anti-Semitic.
True, and if you defend, if you criticize Israel, then this is anti-Semite. This is a wrong notion, and of course, Gita. But I want the common Indian to know that we are Semites. Yeah. We are Semites. The Arab are Semites. So when you say anti-Semite, this is the wrong notion and should be eliminated. We know that Israel has the backing and the support of a superpower. Maybe the supreme power of the world, and they own the money, they own media, they own, and I myself, being the ambassador of Lebanon in India for quite a while now, I know that despite this aggressive campaign by the Israelis, and they also maybe have some channels or some open channels with some Indian media. But still, they can't control the common Indian. The common Indian know for sure what occupation means, and they know that the Palestinians are oppressed, that the Lebanese are oppressed, and they know that Israelis are the aggressor, and we are on the right side of the history, and we will win.
On the right side of history, Ambassador, in terms of the Hezbollah, if you could just take us through the situation on the ground. Do you think they have the strength, capability, capacity to regroup after the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie attacks that almost decimated the forces on the ground? And then we have had the top leadership, the second rung, and then Hassan Nasrallah himself completely
Look, I'm not a military expert, but I know that, like I said just now, when people are resisting for their land, they will win. They will put lots of blood, they will put lots of souls, we will lose, of course, unfortunately, innocent souls. But yes, this is on the side of the popular resistance. On the side of Hezbollah, I'm not very much aware of their capability, of their strength, but I know for sure that the elimination of a certain head is not the end of this group. This is a fact in the military science that when you eliminate the head of a group, maybe you will affect it severely, but this does not mean that the end of the group. Hezbollah can quickly appoint another leader, and they can restructure themselves. I'm not sure again about how they will do it, but we saw yesterday only how they defended the group of about 20 to 50 Israeli soldiers were incursioning into Lebanon, and they defend them. They inflicted heavy casualties on the incursion forces.
Dr. Naush, you're a diplomat, you represent a government, and so difficult to ask you, but still, because it has to do with the security scenario in Lebanon. Hassan Nasrallah's body has been found, but the funeral has not taken place. There might be a symbolic funeral because nobody knows whether it's safe to carry out a proper procession and a proper funeral for the Hezbollah leader. In such a scenario, what are your inputs? What's the security situation? Will he be buried in Lebanon? Will he be taken to, Karbala, which is a holy site? Is there something that you know of in terms of what happens to Hassan Nasrallah's final rites, his funeral?
I really don't know, Gita. I have no clue about that because, like you, I read reports on this. There's no official statement on this, not from Hezbollah, not from my government. Hassan Nasrallah to us is a great leader, is a freedom fighter. We might have, as a government, and it's not a secret, that we had some how can I say, dialogue with Hezbollah about their agenda, about their political issue, but it was, when it comes to Lebanese politics, Hezbollah was a Lebanese party, and Hezbollah supporters and members are Lebanese, and they're fighting for Lebanese cause. Some people or some states and countries, they prescribe him as terrorist. For us and for many countries, he is not. But as to his funeral, I'm not sure. I have no clue. There hasn't been any statement from my government.
But there is going to be something important in a prayer or something.
I can't tell also. I don't really know about this.
Is it because you do know that if top leaders from the region come for his funeral, that place will certainly come under attack by Israel?
Of course. We have experience, and Israel has no hesitation of bombing civilians. If they want to eliminate one single person, they can kill dozens or hundreds even of. And they did this when they assassinated Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah. They killed dozens of Lebanese innocents in the buildings that they shut down. That they attacked. So yes, maybe this is one factor. Of course, security factor should be taken into consideration because we don't trust Israel in killing civilians.
A lot of leaders from the axis of resistance, as they call it, have lost their lives. Ismail Hania on Iranian soil. Now we're seeing Hassan Nasrallah also killed. The second in command, and many commanders, Qasem Soleimani, so many of them having been killed. In such a scenario, where do you see the fight for Palestine at this point in time against vis-a-vis Israel?
Again,
When Israel has so much of Western support, particularly from the
True. Israel without the Western support, without the U.S. support, is nothing. Of course, I mean they have the strongest army maybe in the region, or this is how they present themselves. They have the nuclear power. They have the mass power weapons of mass destruction. Yes, they do. But then again, with the Palestinians, the same with the Lebanese. They are fighting for their freedom. They are fighting for their land. They are fighting for their future, for their nation. So any people doing this, Indians know very well this. When you are fighting for the right cause, you will win. Yes, they have assassinated Haniya and Hassan Nasrallah and many leaders, but we are the children of this land, and if one goes, other will come to continue this process of freedom and independence.
What about the Lebanese army, the Lebanese government? Have you put out an official statement on how you're going to respond to Israel? Is there a response that we'll see from Lebanon as a government?
As a government, we have only the diplomatic solution, and we are the political and diplomatic solution. We are keen on implementing every peaceful way to resolve this situation. We don't claim that we have a military power that we can fight Israel, apart from the popular resistance, which I said that we will win. But on the government level, we are not interested in war, and we are trying every possible peaceful channel to solve the situation. Since the 7th of October, we met and we spoke about that we are keen on political solutions. Our Prime Minister has been traveling all over the capitals of the world to promote the Lebanese vision of peaceful solution. Our Foreign Minister did the same. Only yesterday, he's currently in the U.S. Talking to world leaders about a peaceful solution.
Is there any response from Washington, D.C.?
Of course, there
Any
are.
assurance?
But the issue is that the other party is not interested in peace. We heard from U.S. officials and from French officials that we cannot control Netanyahu. You know, Netanyahu can take assets and weapons from the U.S., but he cannot heed their advice to stop the war.
So you're saying Netanyahu is actually not listening to Washington, D.C.?
Of course not. This Netanyahu has been proscribed by the ICC, by the way, and ICJ, that he is a war criminal. He committed war crimes. So this war criminal person should be stopped, should be held. And what we are seeing currently is the result of not holding Israel responsible for its war crime and its crimes against humanity.
There's a major loss that Lebanon is facing, not in terms of what is happening on the ground to infrastructure, but to people. That the civilians who are leaving, even if you have a massive internally displaced population. Then you have a set of all people who are also trying to leave Lebanon, but from Lebanon they're going to Syria, which is also not a safe place.
True.
So no place is safe for Lebanese.
No place is safe, and even within this period, Israel has attacked a place where the displaced people are. They attacked and killed. Under their pretext is that there's some militiamen or some Hezbollah leaders. So they attacked places where the people have left their homes to come to, thinking that it is a safe place. But for Israel, there's no safe place for innocents. That's why I'm saying that the international community, and I'm also calling upon India, the friendly Indian government, and earlier I was at the Ministry of External Affairs and I spoke with officials. And of course, they are open and they have always called for peaceful solution. His Excellency, the Prime Minister, has also called for a peaceful solution for the situation. So I'm again calling upon India to put pressure on Israel to hold this unprecedented war and firepower and killing of innocents. This should stop.
Your meeting with the Ministry of External Affairs officials, was that the focus?
Yes, of course, was on that, and I was also thanking them because they voluntarily proposed to help Lebanon with some medicines and medical supplies, and maybe later some food. So they are following up the humanitarian situation, and of course politically. And I asked them, of course, to put some pressure on Israel to stop all this crazy campaign they are attacking.
What about Indians in Lebanon? There are quite a few of them, about 3,000 to 4,000, of which about 900 are peacekeepers at the border.
True. It's the beautiful side of India. We have since 1978, since the first incursion of Israel, again, the aggression of Israel on Lebanon, there has been the creation of this peacekeeping forces, which is called UNIFIL, United Nations Interim Forces in Lebanon. Since then, India has been always there, with maybe the biggest contingent of the UNIFIL is Indian. Currently about 900 to 1,000 peacekeeping personnel, they are there. They are doing a great job, and we are always thankful for the Indian government for their presence there. And yes, you mentioned that 3,000 to 4,000 Indian who are working in Lebanon. They are as safe as the Lebanese, so we are taking care of course, of them. And as far as
they're evacuating, so I'm just wondering whether they're safe.
Like I said, they are as safe as the families that they are working with, or the companies that they are working at. So yes, I mean we hold high respect to them, and everyone is doing their utmost, of course, I'm sure, to protect them.
My final question to you, Dr. Naush, is a larger picture. If we zoom out a little, right now, Israel is also attacking Syria, but they've attacked a certain port where there are Russian forces. In terms of war and military strategy, are they trying to contain Russia before they even go ahead with a bigger attack? Is Israel planning a bigger attack in which if US intervenes, then Russia will not be able to come in support of Iran, or for that matter, of other forces?
The attack on Syria, again, has been there for forever, since at least since the beginning of this war on Gaza. So Israel's attacks and raids on Syria have never stopped. I don't know about their military plan and their strategic plan, but yes, Russia is there, and again, Russia now, maybe they are busy with their own war also. But before that, Russia has always exerted efforts for a peaceful solution, and there has been some coordination in Syria between Russia, Iran, and the Syrian regime. And so yes, I mean the situation there is also volatile, very critical. We also hope that things calm down. But as long as Israel is not put into some restrictions that enough is enough, this crazy situation and this dangerous situation in the Middle East will escalate further, I'm afraid.
And do you know of any, or have any information, does the government have any information on Israel planning a bigger attack in retaliation of the ballistic missile attack?
Not only information, there's some announcement by Israeli officials, from ministers in the cabinet. They say that they want and they promote and they advocate for a all-out war with Lebanon, for ground invasion. Some even go further to say that they want some settlements in Lebanon. But this is impossible. I'm telling them that this will never happen. On the contrary, we will liberate our occupied lands all over.
Do you see it spill over beyond these seven countries?
Yes, there's a possibility that the spillover is there, with Iran involved, with Yemen, because they are the terrorist state of Israel has spared no one in the region. Since their creation, they have taken this animosity, or this how can I say, this hostile approach against everybody in the region. They left with no friends, because they are a state of that's founded on blood and on twisted historical religious doctrine, which is very, very dangerous.
Dr. Rabi Naush, thank you so much for joining us here on
Thank
Envoy.
you. Thank you for having me.